some of that reluctance that still persists in large industries like construction when it comes to taking that leap to implement new technologies and taking on the advancements that we've got available to us today. So I'm really lucky that I get to be joined by one of my favourites, Adrian Gilmore from Alchemy.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Adrian's a contract manager at Alchemy there, and we wanted to just do a little bit of a customer spotlight to talk about some of the best practice when it comes to implementing new technology. Adrian, can you give us a little bit of a background to yourself and to Alchemy?
Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm the contracts manager at Alchemy. I've been at Alchemy for the last 7 years. I've been part of the Alchemy team throughout their growth at the early stage. I have a background in civil and structural engineering. If you can't tell, I'm from Ireland with my accent. So I've been over in Australia now for 8 years. So I've really been in a contract administrator role since then, and looking forward to the continual growth with Alchemy continuing on.
Thanks. So Adrian, traditionally been a pretty antiquated process in construction. Can you share for us why did Alchemy decide to take the leap and digitise your procurement?
So Alchemy is a fairly young business. We're just going into our 10th year, so it's probably an advantage in a way where technology is really coming into that space as well. So we had the advantage of growing our business and really jumping on to digitalized platforms. We've had platforms like Procore for document control, project management. We use HammerTech for safety, and procurement was that missing piece really. So we've seen the benefits of using these other platforms and the efficiencies that it's given us. It was really no-brainer to use a software system for procurement, because the old way of doing it, you put Excel documents, Word documents, it was really just a manual process, time-consuming for everyone. It was just the way everyone knew it. It was just the norm, but for us it was a really no-brainer to really digitalize procurement and save those efficiencies.
And if you were to distill down what you think some of the biggest impacts to Alchemy have been since you digitise your procurement with ProcurePro?
I think everyone in the room, most of you obviously are using ProcurePro. Like, it's really the time saving and the efficiencies that it gives us. Our CAs and our project team can really focus on then more critical details of that project. We did a bit of an exercise last year, and I think we worked out we're saving over 40,000 to 50,000 pages a year from the old way of having everything printed out and hard copy signed. Definitely across every sector now within the industry, the more you can digitalize every process, you're just saving time. And ultimately, time is money. You may not see the direct impact of your bottom line, but throughout the year, it's definitely having a positive effect.
It's really interesting how many flow-on effects there are from implementing new systems and taking on those efficiencies. I was having a chat with somebody earlier about all of the paper that just exists across construction jobs, and in a past life I spent a few years out on site with a large contractor, and I can attest to the amount of paper that was going into Grace archive boxes and then into big shipping containers to just sit somewhere, never to be seen again. Have you noticed any other impacts that you wouldn't necessarily have thought of when first looking at moving procurement into ProcurePro?
Yeah, I think definitely. No one wants to do paperwork, so whether it's the PCs or CAs and project managers, if you can take as much paperwork and time-consuming processes off them, it's only going to benefit them. And everyone with Alchemy that has used ProcurePro, and whether it's when we initially rolled it out or new starters who haven't used the system before, the first thing they say is, this is just amazing, like this is great compared to the old Excel monotonous kind of way where you're either losing the documents, or if everyone's working off an Excel document, not saving it in the correct place or moving it, or losing work that you've actually carried on because someone has overridden it. So all of that now is taken away, so it's only going to help everyone from a PC the whole way up to a project manager. It definitely helps the mood within the teams and it gives enjoyment to procurement.
Enjoyment in procurement, that's a new one we didn't think we'd hear. Let's talk about the nitty-gritty there when it came to the implementation. So Alchemy managed to roll out ProcurePro across around about 20 projects in just over 8 weeks. So when people have that hesitance and they think, oh, this is going to be really hard to do this implementation, there's going to be a lot of change, can you talk to us about what that was actually like, rolling it out?
So as I said, I've been with Alchemy for the last 7 years. So when I first joined, there was really, we had no software, no platform. It was all emails, Excel documents, Word documents. So I've been part of rolling out a lot of our processes and systems. I've pulled out my hair a few times probably throughout all those phases, but with ProcurePro, it was really a breeze. It was definitely the smoothest platform that we had to roll out. The implementation plan that you provided from the get-go, was a breeze to use. We kind of spearheaded a couple of champion projects initially for the first 2 months. And I think because every CA or project coordinator or PM is used to doing the steps already, they're not learning anything new. They're just learning how to use the platform. And I think it's a very, very user-friendly platform. The training and the support that you provide as well is excellent. After about 8 weeks, we just decided it was time to roll it out across all of our projects. It was very seamless. We've rolled out financial software systems before with a lot more time-consuming process. It's definitely important, though, to focus on it and make sure that you put the time into to implement it and roll it out.
I was going to say, look, we can't take all the credit. There's a lot of effort that goes in behind the scenes there from your guys' side as well to make sure that rollout is successful. Change doesn't happen by itself. We know that. You actually have to go out and get things done. Definitely have to give props to Alchemy for really driving that change from the top down. That's what we saw all the way through in the partnership with Alchemy, just kind of taking the bull by the horns and getting it in, which is what you want to see. It's fantastic. I'm wondering if you've got any key bits of advice or tips for anyone here who hasn't rolled out new technology in a while and is maybe going through that at the moment, things to think about, whether that's ProcurePro or not.
There's a lot of products out there probably. It's only going to get probably more and more in a competitive market where our industry is definitely adopting technology more. And I think you just need to do your research as well. Make sure that you're picking the correct platform that works for you. I think the main thing is nominating a champion to really spearhead the implementation. If you don't do that, it can stagnate. You can sit there. You mightn't get the best benefits out of a software or technology for months if you don't really just drive that initial phase of implementation. It might seem like an overhead upfront cost, but without a doubt, the efficiencies that you'll save throughout the rest of the year and many years to come will completely outweigh that initial upfront overhead to really spear that technology.
It's a really good point. You're spearheading that change and really championing it through your business. You guys did an incredible job with doing that there. Now, without giving away any state secrets, I wonder if you can share for us whether there's been any kind of like commercial impacts to any of the project teams since coming on board to ProcurePro?
You can retrospectively look back and definitely gauge that there has been profit improvements across the entire company by using the system, but also by using the analytic reporting and the Power BI reporting that you provide as well. That gives us massive insight. So like we use it for procurement opportunities. We have direct visibility now to see whether a couple of project teams are all procuring for a painter at the same time, that we can look to leverage and package up some packages that might be able to work. Previously, you're kind of siloed in a way. You have siloed teams out on site and you mightn't have that full visibility. We often use that on a month-to-month basis to get the teams to communicate and work together on those particular packages that they can look to team up. Also estimating trends, so that's really vital, where we can zoom in and then go back and hammer our estimating team and really show them which packages they're constantly dropping the ball on. So we definitely use that for lessons learned, and our pre-con team regularly dive in and look at that data, which it's definitely an indicator. It's not exactly 100%, but our pre-con manager uses that data then to sit his team down and say, okay, look, these are the particular areas in the last 12 months where we've either missed some particular trades. But then also team workload. So we've clear data and numbers now on how many packages a particular CA has to procure. Everyone might know in the room that the start of a job is the busiest part of the job, where you're looking to procure as quickly as possible. And you're not only doing procurement, you're doing everything else from document control to RFIs to shop drawings. So to really zone in on seeing who has the most workload versus a project team that may have finished procurement, and whether we can utilize some of that spare capacity across the business to really push procurement. Especially, obviously, I think it's died down now, hopefully, but the rising costs coming out of COVID was definitely a key factor to try and push procurement as quickly as possible, but as efficiently and as accurately as possible.
Workload is interesting too. I imagine for some of the more junior staff as well, when you've got new CAs or even cadets coming through, has that helped as well? Being able to see who's potentially overloaded and needs to maybe be buddied up with somebody else more senior, or were they wearing too many hats maybe?
Yeah, definitely. That analytic reporting gives us pretty much what employee and how many packages they have. So we can clearly see whether it's a project coordinator and how many they're working on, and whether that's actually sustainable for that project coordinator, depending on their experience. And as you said, yes, we can look to buddy them up with a CA or senior CA and really provide that support for that particular employee as well. So it definitely gives us great insight there.
As a bit of a final question, would you go back?
No, I couldn't never imagine going back. I don't think it would be possible to even imagine doing it the manual way again. For us, ProcurePro and procurement was a missing piece for digitalization. Generally, the way this industry is going to go, technology is only going to adapt even more and more. AI was mentioned previously, and I definitely think that's going to be a massive influence, and I think in about 10 years' time we'll be looking back to even this time and we won't even recognize. This will be nearly the old way in 10 years' time. Eventually I think AI will take over most of the steps, and then we'll just have to check a few things. Technology will only benefit the sector going forward. To be honest, I look at it now, and I don't know if many of you remember the movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise. I just don't understand why we're not already there in the building industry. And I think it's starting to filter down with VR within the tier 1 sector, where you can have BIM clashes when you're walking out on site. So it's great to see that. I think it should literally be here today, down in all the tiers. I'll hold my breath and wait for the day it does.
I'm still waiting for a hoverboard.
That too, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Adrian.
All right.
Thank you.